Klasse. Der Zug kommt jetzt.
Fahren wir mit dem Zug?
Ja. Wir nehmen den Zug. Aufgrund des Zuges um 11 Uhr kommt er etwas spät.
Oh. Hi. Thanks for tuning in again. Do you want to fit right in with German native speakers? Then you're gonna have to start with getting your German cases right. Hello. Welcome to my channel. This channel is called Germanwithos. It's all about learning German from an English-speaking perspective. Now pay attention to the way the cases change in each sentence.
Der Zug.
Dem Zug.
Den Zug. Des Zuges.
Now before we dive into some simple tactics for improving your German case skills, take a good look at the cold and hard evidence I've got that German is really meant to inflict pain on the language learner. Now take a good look at the English cases. That's quite painful, isn't it? Well, as you could see, in English you always know where you stand with your articles, regardless of gender, quantity, or who's doing what action. The will always be the. German is far more specific. Being unable to get the German cases right is something that prevents people from being able to pass German tests in their German class. However, now you know exactly what you're up against. Knowing which case a certain noun should be in is much easier than remembering that noun's gender. The cases follow a set of fairly consistent rules that you can learn quickly. You only need a few easy-to-follow guidelines which can help you to remember the gender of nouns. There are only 4 important concepts you need to master to always identify the correct case in German. The nominative case is always the subject of the sentence. That is the person or thing which is doing the action. Let's take, for example, Toulouse sentence. Der Zug kommt. Der Zug is the subject which is doing the action. Although that sounds simple enough, here are some examples of sentences where it's not immediately obvious what's going on. As you can see in this sentence, there are 2 subjects. Die neue Schülerin war eine Chinesin. Or let's take, for example, the following sentence. Das Praktikum war die beste Erfahrung meines Lebens. If the sentence only uses some form of the verb sein, meaning to be, then both nouns are in the nominative case. Think about it. These sentences don't have an object. They just have the same subject twice. However, you must keep in mind that, as it is with any rule, there are exceptions, and this is not always the case 100% of the time. One of the first things learners of German should learn not to say is Ich bin kalt. The proper German way to express discomfort when it's cold is to say Mir ist kalt. In this sentence, the subject is missing. We rather have a dative mir. Mir is the object of the sentence. Actually, there is a subject in this sentence, but it is hidden. Es ist mir kalt. Mir ist es kalt. Es is the original subject of the sentence. Thus, it can be difficult to find out what is the subject of the sentence because it is not obvious. I think you can now imagine the rather indirect relationship between you and the cold. The noun in the dative case indicates that the environment is cold for you rather than just you being cold. You need to know the difference between direct object and indirect object. Direct object is an object which directly receives the effect of an action. It is in the accusative case. Take for example the sentence Ich schreibe ein Buch. Ein Buch is the direct object, and it is in the accusative case. Indirect object is an object which is passively affected by an action. It is in the dative case. Take for example the sentence gibt mir das Buch. Mir is dative and is passively affected. You have to know which verb carries which case. Accusative case is the object of the sentence, and dative is the indirect object of the sentence. In sentences that have both a direct object and an indirect object, it's usually pretty clear which noun has a more direct relationship to the verb. For example, the verb geben. Geben is the verb that carries two objects, the direct object and the indirect object. In this sentence, gibt mir das Buch, the direct object is das Buch, while the indirect object is mir. Let's take the next sentence. Nehmen. Wir nehmen den Zug. Nehmen is a verb that carries one object, the direct object, and it is in the accusative case. Den Zug. Here are some dative verbs you can memorize. Helfen. Helfen. Sagen. Sagen. Folgen. Folgen. Gefallen. Gefallen. When you learn a new verb, you actually have to know a few things in order to use it correctly. For example, is it reflexive? What prepositions does it use? And is it dative or accusative? Make a note every time you learn a new verb about whether the verb is dative or accusative, and even try to find a memorable sentence that you can refer to whenever you're not sure. But when there is no verb, then the preposition determines the case of the following noun or pronoun. Let's take for example the noun der Unfall. Seit dem Unfall. Seit is a preposition that calls for a dative case. Während des Unfalls. Während is a preposition that calls for a genitive case. Durch den Unfall. Durch is a preposition that calls for an accusative case. So as you can see, the case changes due to the preposition that is in front of the noun. Now what does this mean to you? This means that whenever you learn a new preposition, also learn its case. It would make it much more easier. See? I've made you a list of prepositions and their cases. Try to make a list like this whenever you learn a new preposition. Klasse, wir haben es geschafft! Once you master these 4 concepts, you'll be able to speak and write German with real fluency. And when you get more experience recognizing what case words are in, then you'll be able to see the relationship between the words in long German sentences. Good luck, hope to see you soon!